There are moments in modern history when music stops being just sound and becomes a tectonic shift. On June 18, 2018, the world stood still. The news of Gekyume Onfroy's death, known to the world as XXXTentacion, at just 20 years old, wasn't just a tabloid headline. It was a collective cry of pain that united millions of young people from every corner of the planet. But while fans were mourning their idol, a new life was being prepared in the shadows. 7 months later, Gekyume Onfroy was born. Today, Gekyume is not just a famous child. He is the guardian of a legacy that weighs tons. The question burning on everyone's lips, from Reddit forums to Instagram comments, is one and the same. Will Gekyume be able to live up to the legend of his father? Can a child raised under the world's microscope carry forward the genius, the vulnerability, and the revolutionary spirit of X? Or will he be crushed by the weight of the Onfroy name? Today, we dive deep into the evolution of the one chosen to continue a next state of mind. To understand what fans expect from Gekyume, we have to go back to the source. XXXTentacion was not your average rapper. He was a musical chameleon. From the raw, distorted aggression of Look at Me to the heartbreaking melancholy of the album 17, X achieved something few artists do in a lifetime. He created a deep, empathetic connection with his listeners. X spoke about inner demons, depression, and the desperate urge to change. During an era when the hip-hop industry was dominated by facades of invincibility, he changed an entire generation by teaching young people that it's okay not to be okay. This brutal authenticity is the torch that Gekyume now holds. Fans aren't just waiting for music from him, they are waiting for that soul-to-soul connection, that ability to change lives. But how do you prepare a child for such a mission without destroying his childhood? X's life was a constant paradox. Born in Plantation, Florida, Gekyume's childhood was marked by a lack of stability. He grew up surrounded by violence, quickly finding himself at odds with the law. The crimes, the street fights, and the time spent in juvenile detention centers weren't just isolated episodes. They were the harsh reality of a young man who saw no way out. Many sources from his inner circle tell stories of a young man with brilliant intelligence but an explosive temperament. He lived the gangster life, not because he loved it, but because it was the environment that shaped him. However, toward the end of his life, we witnessed a radical transformation. X began studying philosophy, talking about the law of attraction, and telling his fans they could manifest their own reality. This transition from a delinquent to a spiritual leader is exactly why fans are so protective of Gekyume. They want the son to inherit the father's wisdom, but leave behind the trauma and the dangers that cut Gekyume's life short. Chapter 3: The Birth of Gekyume and the Prophetic Name. Gekyume didn't get an ordinary name. Just weeks before the tragic incident, X invented this word, Gekyume. To him, this concept represented a different state of mind or a next universe. By his very name, this child was programmed to be something more than an average human being. The moment he was born, on January 26, 2019, the internet exploded. Every photo was analyzed under a microscope. People looked into his eyes, searching for his father's gaze. And indeed, the physical resemblance is striking, which has only fueled the fans' desire to see an artistic reincarnation. But here lies the pressure. Is it fair to ask a child to fill such a massive void? Unlike his father, Gekyume is growing up in a controlled, protected environment. His mother, Genesis Sanchez, and his grandmother, Cleopatra Bernard, have ensured that Gek has access to everything Gekyume didn't: stability, financial resources, and a top-tier education. We often see clips of him listening to his father's songs, playing with cars, or exploring the world. However, the huge challenge is balance. Cleopatra has often been criticized for how she manages the XXXTentacion brand, but one thing is certain: she's paving the way for Gekyume to take the reins of the empire when he's ready. But beyond the money and the royalties, fans wonder, will he have that creative hunger that X had? His father created out of suffering. Gekyume is growing up in comfort. Can his art be just as relevant without his father's trauma? Can a child truly be the reincarnation of a legend? Or are we, as fans, simply projecting our own longing for a lost icon? As Gekyume grows, the whispers on the internet are turning into a roar. Everyone wants to know if the Gekyume state of mind is a gift or a burden. Today, we look at the path ahead for the boy who carries the DNA of a revolution. The world of music is full of errors, but few have been awaited with as much intensity as Gekyume. Fans have already started analyzing every video of the toddler, looking for signs of rhythmic timing or vocal curiosity. But the expectation isn't just that he makes music, it's that he makes meaningful music. X wasn't just a rapper, he was a songwriter who understood the frequencies of human emotion. Fans expect Gekyume to have that same ear for the avant-garde. They don't want a look-alike or a sound-alike. They want someone who can innovate. The bar isn't just high, it's in the stratosphere. Will Gekyume be a multi-instrumentalist? Will he experiment with rock, emo, and classical just like his father? The pressure to be a prodigy is the first hurdle Gekyume will have to face before he even turns 10. There is a major debate within the community. Can great art exist without great suffering? XXXTentacion's music was fueled by a life of struggle, legal battles, and heartbreak. He was the bad vibes forever architect. But Gekyume's life is different. He is the good vibes successor. The fans' biggest expectation is to see Gekyume achieve the final form of what X wanted to become. Before he passed, Jase was obsessed with becoming a force for positivity. Gekyume represents that evolution. If X was the storm, Gekyume is the calm after it. The true success of the son won't be measured in how many gangster anthems he creates, but in how he uses his platform to continue the philanthropic and spiritual work his father started. He is expected to be the proof that you can be legendary without being damaged. Let's talk about the reality of the music business. The industry is known for exploiting the names of deceased artists, and X's estate has been a topic of controversy for years. Fans are incredibly protective of Gekyume because they fear he might be used as a marketing tool by the industry. The expectation here is transparency. Fans want Genesis and Cleopatra to shield him until he's old enough to choose his own path. We've seen other sons of legends fail because they were pushed into the spotlight too early. For Gekyume to truly reach the heights of his father's legacy, he must be allowed to find his own voice, not a voice manufactured by a label trying to capitalize on a tragedy. Perhaps the most important expectation is for Gekyume to live a long, full life. In the world of hip-hop, staying alive is sometimes the greatest achievement. Fans don't just want Gekyume to be a star, they want him to be the one who finally breaks the cycle. No more violence, no more courtrooms, no more early funerals. By staying away from the gangster lifestyle that plagued the early years of his father, Gekyume will achieve what X wanted most, a world where his son is safe. If Gekyume grows up to be a happy, healthy, and successful individual, whether he's a musician, an artist, or a businessman, he will have officially won and fulfilled the highest expectation of his father's fan base. Gekyume Onfroy was born into a story that was already halfway written. He didn't choose the spotlight, and he didn't choose the millions of people who see his father's soul in his eyes. But as he grows, he's proven that he is more than just a shadow of the past. X once said, "In the end, I will be the one to change the world." He did it through his music. Now, Gekyume has the chance to do it through his life. He doesn't need to be the next XXXTentacion. He just needs to be the first Gekyume, and that in itself will be enough to change everything.